Good morning. So today, as I posted before, we're going to go over, there's 8 poses to help with chronic pain issues as well as fibromyalgia. Hi, Becky. Eric! So I wanted to go over those. I did get a request from my sister-in-law, actually. So I definitely wanted to try to address that. I myself don't have fibromyalgia, but I do have an autoimmune disease. I have psoriatic arthritis, and I've had that for 21 years. So it's been a while. And even what you were seeing, like with my shoulder, which feels a ton better, there's certain moves that there's certain activities that I need to do in order to, sort of put off the pain that I have. There's sometimes I push through, and other times I need to rest. It's all knowing what your body is able to do and what you're not able to do. But it's always good to have an option. I used to go to hot yoga when I had a migraine. I had migraines for about 20 years as well. Luckily, I don't have them anymore. But I would go into hot yoga with like full-blown migraine and come out without one. And I'm sure some of it was the heat as well as the actual yoga itself. So why don't we get started? A lot of the theory behind yoga for fibromyalgia or chronic pain comes from that you decrease your stress level. A lot of times with stress, if you think about how you react when you're stressful, you tense up the muscles. I know I, for one, get a lot in my neck when I'm really stressed out. So it's all a matter of relaxation, trying to minimize your stress, or at least for the moment. A lot of times if you're in a stressful situation, it sort of is what it is. You just try to breathe. And if you can, get away for a minute and stretch and do some of the yoga poses, then that'll at least help you, be able to focus and do what you need to do. So our first one is straight on. It's Tadasana, which is mountain pose. So you're standing up straight, or you can sit. Let me get a chair, just in case. All right, so the standing part of Tadasana, or mountain pose, you have your feet roughly, I'm going to step back a little. You have your feet roughly hip width apart, maybe a fist distance. You can also step with your feet together. If you don't have balance issues, you can do that, but you can also have your feet apart. And what you do is you roll your shoulders back. Hi, Valeria. So you roll your shoulders back, and what you do is you turn your palms out. And you don't have to look up at the sky. You can just look forward. You could even close your eyes if you're cool with closing your eyes in a stand position. Sometimes I am and sometimes I'm not. It is what it is. So what you can do is just sort of look at the ground. So you're relaxing your eyes, rolling your shoulders back so you're in a really good posture position, and your palms are facing out. So this is mountain pose. You can actually stand, focus on your breath, and breathe in this position. Just relax. So you would breathe through your nose and out your nose. What you do is you focus on your breath. When you breathe in, feel your chest rise. And feel it lower with your exhale. nice and relaxing. So that is your first pose. In seated, I would try not to lean on the back because your posture isn't as good. And when you're, I mean, it's relaxing, don't get me wrong, but you still want to roll your shoulders back and have your hands down. Once again, you're focusing on your breath. So you can do this in a seated position, not a problem. Okay. Let me move this aside just in case we need it later. Your next pose would be Balasana or Child's Pose. Once again, if you're able to get on the floor, this is for you. So, get on the floor. You're going to sit back on your feet. And I will show modifications, I promise. Okay, so you're sitting back on your feet. And I'm going to turn around my hat. Your forehead comes down to the ground. And if you can, you're going to reach for your heels. The theory behind this is it's more about stress release. Because you have your forehead down, you're looking at the ground, and all you can do is focus on your breath in that position. So it is actually a very calming position. You know, you don't necessarily have to have your hands here. You can have your hands here. I think the gist of it is, and you can even spread your knees out. Sometimes I get a little claustrophobic when I got my knees right at my face. Nobody said I was perfect. So, you know, you can spread them out. Try to get the forehead on the ground if you can. Now, what you can do for a modification, my handy dandy blocks. What you can do, you can sit actually on the block, and you can actually put it as high as you need to. So that way it's not as much pressure on the knees. You can put the block in front and put your forehead on the block. So that way you don't have to reach all the way down to the ground. Okay, so, you know, you could even, if one's not enough, you can have two. You know, get yourself up as much as you want. And then you just come down. So that is Child's Pose or Balasana if you're into the Sanskrit version of what it is. Okay, now your next one, and actually I'm going to use a block. Legs up the wall. Let me turn my hat around. Okay, so the thing with this one is you have to get your butt, I'm going to move up a little bit. You have to get your butt as close to the wall as possible. Let me get my block. All right, so you sort of slide, and if you can, sort of walk your hiney, that's right, I said hiney, to the wall, and your legs are relaxed. So, you know, try to keep them together. If you can, try to flex your feet. And this is a total relaxation pose. I mean, my legs are relaxed. I'm not like fighting to keep my legs on the wall. Once again, this relieves, this can probably give you a stretch on your hamstring if you're really tight. You know, if you need to have knees bent, you can, because this is actually supposed to be a really relaxing pose. So you're not doing it for like a hardcore stretch or anything. Okay. Sometimes people prefer this over Shavasana or corpse pose because, you know, laying flat on their back might not be as comfortable. Now, you can also use a block. So lifting up, I would do it lengthwise. And there you are. So now you have a supported legs up the wall. If you need, if you need a little bit more support on your low back. And that's that. Okay. All right, here we go. Now, for a modification for this, you don't necessarily need a wall. Hi, Ruth! You got me live this time, girl. All right, so the modification for this is you can put a block under your bottom. So if I'm laying down on the floor, put the block under your hips and just lift your legs up. Now this is a little bit more energetic because you got to keep your legs up in the air, but it's still relaxing. And tight hamstrings, you can have your knees bent, no problem. Okay, if a block under your back hurts, you can lie flat. Just bring your legs up. All right, so you don't necessarily need a wall, but you'll notice it's a little bit more energetic because you have to maintain your legs up there. Where with the wall, you're just leaning on the wall. Now, I did want to show you, I know I'm going back a second. If child's pose is tough on the floor because of your knees or you just can't get down there, you can actually be in the chair and just, sort of come down, do a forward fold. Just sit in forward fold. So that's sort of like a good modification for child's pose if you can't get down on the ground. I wanted to say that before I forgot. Okay, so we've gone through 4. Now, one of the more energetic poses, they suggest actually warrior 1. So you're in a lunge, your back foot is flat, so you don't have your heel up, you have it flat. You can actually manage the width of the lunge, whatever is in your comfort zone. So, I have a longer leg than I have a waist. So I have more of a wider stance, but you can actually bring it, as narrow as you want. Okay, so as long as your front knee does not go over your toe, your front toe, you're good. All right, so say this is more of a narrow stance. You can have different positions of arms. So you can have your arms all the way up. You can come out to goal posts. You can do hands at heart center. You can have hands down in like mountain pose, like with your hands just, try to keep them energetic though, wherever you're at. If my hands are up, really point those fingers out. If they're out, really try to get a stretch in your chest. If they're down, really have your palms out. Maybe, feel a little tricep going on. Even hands at heart center, you can like press your hands together. Okay, so what you would do is do one side. So my right foot is forward right now. You can step up and switch to the other side. So then your hands can be wherever you want. Just switch up legs. Okay, so this time my knee is, the left knee is in front. What you want to try to do is how I usually do warrior 1. I try to get my hips to face forward. All right, your natural inclination is to sort of be like sideways. You really want to, so I'll put my hands on my hips, give myself a physical cue that my hips are pointing forward, and then I'll do my hand placement wherever I'm at that day. Okay, so that is warrior 1. And then we're standing up. Now, let me look at my list because
Let's see. There we go. Yeah, we've done quite a few. All right, so we have 3 more. The next one is called Cobra Pose. So you are on the floor, on your belly, and this is sliding your hands to go under your shoulders, and your toes, if you can, try to press them down into the ground so they don't lift up. Press them into the ground, and you're just going to do a mini back bend. So, you know you're doing it right. You feel it in your back. Now, this is a good stretch for the front of your body. So I feel it in my abs. I feel it in my arms. And I feel it in my low back. And what you eventually do, you know, you work your way. Like maybe you're here. Try to work to here. Then try to work to arms fully extended. Okay? So, how do you modify? Block. Okay. So I'm laying on my belly. You can have the block under your chest. I'll go sideways here. You know, have it under your chest muscles. You know, come up. If this is too much, you can come down. If this is a stretch with the block under you, stay there. And then just work on eventually lifting away from the block. Okay? So that's Cobra Pose. Hi, Carmen! All right, so your next ones are on the floor. Okay? So I know we have Cobbler Pose. Child's Pose we did. Oh, we just have 2 more. That went by fast. Okay, so our next one is Cobbler's Pose. Ooh, let me grab 2 blocks. 1 for each knee. All right, so we're sitting. And if you can, you're going to bring your feet together. You can have them as wide as you need, or you can bring them in. Now, so if you bring them in, so I can usually get them relatively flat, but say your knees are up here. All right, so you can use the blocks as support. Okay, and then just try to hold on to your ankles. So this is a good one for your hips, your inner thigh. You can try to get into a really good posture. So this could be about your posture, your hips, your inner thighs. Okay, so it can be a challenging position depending on how tight you are. You know, some people are up here. As I said, you don't have to be real tight up. You can actually have them out and then use the blocks accordingly, you know, to sort of support them. Okay? So that's one, and that's called Cobbler's Pose. Or Baddha Konasana. That's right. And Baddha Konasana just means bound ankle. So here we are. All right, so your last one. I bet you can guess what it is. It's Corpse Pose. So this is about as relaxing as it gets. You can, there are no hard and fast rules for Corpse Pose. You do what is comfortable for you. Okay, so say, I mean, you can even roll up a yoga mat. Whatever works. So you can have your knees supported and you're flat. Now, if flat doesn't work for you, you can always put like a pillow under your back
And this is just total relaxation. So what they usually say is you have your palms up to the sky if you want to receive energy. So say you're just feeling fatigued that day, turn your palms up. If you're feeling a little anxious, you need to be more grounded, turn your palms down, hold on to the floor. And in this pose, you close your eyes and you focus on your breath. So once again, you're breathing in, feeling your chest lift, and you're breathing out, feeling your chest lower. This is where a lot of times your mind will, go all over the place. If you focus on your breath, just always come back to your breath, hearing yourself breathe in and breathe out, focusing on your breathing muscles, how they expand and contract with every breath. And you can fall asleep. I have several times. So this is just a relaxation pose. This is a good one. You can do this in bed. You can do this on the floor. You can do this in a chair. It's really one of the simplest things to do. But the mind body, if you're really stressed out, that becomes the hard thing. The pose is a pose, but if you're stressed out, it's hard to come back to your breath. Believe me, I know. So those are the poses that you can do with chronic pain and with fibromyalgia. A lot of it is for stress relief. And, you had a couple poses that were more active, like the warrior one, stuff like that. But for the most part, yoga is really good for settling your mind. So try it out. See if any of those help. I would love to hear from you guys. Also, as I said, I take requests. So if there's a subject matter in yoga that you're really, maybe there's a pose, I really want to do this pose for a long time. I can break it down for you and make it a safe pose for you. If there's, yoga for stress relief, yoga for anything, I would love for you to request, and I'll definitely do the research and we can break it down, and I can make these sessions, as educational as possible. So anyway, thank you for joining me at a later time. My mom is back in her apartment. She did really, really well, and I'm very, very proud of her. So anyway, thank you everyone for your prayers. You've been awesome. And I will talk to you on Thursday. So have a great day. And if I don't get any suggestions, I'm going on my own. I'll go rogue. I'll find something to teach you. So anyway, have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.